If you are a fan of softball, you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. From softballjunk.com, we're bringing you more softball than anyone on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello, I'm Gary Leland, and this is the Fastpitch TV show. Make sure and take a look at all my videos, blogs, and softball information at fastpitch.tv. The Fastpitch TV website brings you more free softball information than anyone on the planet. Now, today I have an interview with two-time Olympian Sheila Cornell-Douty. Now, let's go to the interview right after this short message about my Fastpitch magazine.
Oops, sorry. I was reading this month's issue of the Fastpitch magazine. What? You're not familiar with the Fastpitch magazine? Watch this. You are going to love it. Looks great, right? Want to find more about the #1 coaching tool on the internet? Go to fastpitchmagazine.com today.
I want to thank you for joining me. This is really quite an honor to talk to another Olympian out here at the College World Series. Before we get into anything, what'd you think of that game?
Oh, it was awesome. Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great to see that for Hutch. Okay, let's get on to the interview because I know you've got things to do, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. But tell me, how old were you when you started playing softball?
10.
10? Well, you're a little bit later than a lot of people.
Well, I'm a little bit older than a lot of people, too. Actually, when we started playing, 10 was the age that I was. I just played kind of stuff in the backyard, and then we moved to a new neighborhood, and my mom thought it would be a great way to meet new friends and get acclimated really quickly, so she took us down to the local ball field, and
you liked it.
And I signed up for softball, and I fell in love.
Well, great. And was there anyone special in your life that helped you become a great player?
Oh, I had so many people in my life that helped me become a great player. I was so fortunate from the very first day I started playing to have great coaches that cared not only about the sport but also about the players, and everything from where I first started off. Norm Collins was my first coach, and he was awesome. Steve Gerard when I was later in my high school years with the California Raiders with Phil Bruder as well. They were great, and then of course playing for Ralph Raymond for as many years as I did was just, he was like a father to me, and that was awesome. I learned so much from him and have continued to carry on his legacy with those that I teach as well.
Very good. So now, when you were getting ready to play, how would you just get ready for a game? How would you get ready? Yeah.
I think every player has some sort of rituals that they go through. I was somebody who was a very mental, in a positive way, ball player. I think that's a very important part of the game. So before we would ever leave wherever it was, whether it was my dorm room at UCLA or if we were traveling somewhere and it was a bus and we were having to go to a field, at least an hour before we had to leave, I'd be in my uniform, have it all together, all ready to go. And then I would spend time with my eyes closed, laying down for a good half hour to 40 minutes, just visualizing and, picturing what I wanted to have happen in the game at each at bat, picturing what pitches I was going to hit. And of course, always everything was positive. I never struck out. I never did things that I didn't want to do, never made mental errors. It was always on the positive side of things. And that allowed me to be better mentally prepared when I got to the ball field to start playing.
And there's a lot to that visualization. A lot of people are big believers, and obviously you are.
Definitely. I was introduced to it at UCLA. I also played volleyball there, and Andy Banikowski there had us work with a sports psychologist. And of course, when you first start out and you've never done it before, it's like any other skill. It's a learned skill that you have to learn how to do, and it's not always easy to immediately be able to visualize yourself in your sport and probably in anything, but I use it only for sports. But I was very fortunate to have some great teachers there to be able to teach me how to visualize, and once I learned those tools, I tried to make use of everything I could with them.
Okay. And what did you like to do when you weren't involved with softball?
Everything. I was involved with all sports. When I was in high school, well, even junior high, I played volleyball, basketball, I played soccer, I ran some track and field. I did swimming. I did water ballet when I was younger, which was actually synchronized swimming now. But you know, I was just an outdoors person. I loved going hiking. We had a cabin out in the mountains, and we, as a family, would go hiking. Anything outside. I was a.
Oh, you are an outdoor.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
What factors do you feel have influenced you the most to become the player you are today?
What factors?
Yeah, I don't know where that question came from, but I've asked it to like 20 people.
I think obviously opportunity, desire, my own personal striving to be the best I could be at anything I did. It didn't matter if it was schoolwork or anything to do with sports. I always wanted to be the best. I never settled for being less than the best. I had an incredible competitive drive, and that's something that I don't know if it's really something that can be taught. It can be encouraged, but from a very, very young age, I hated to lose at anything. And I learned how to channel that better as I got older. But even if I was playing a game of cards with my sister, I could not stand to lose. Now, I wouldn't I wouldn't cheat to win, but I hated to lose. Yeah. So I think all of those, and the opportunity. I grew up in...
I think that's a thing in your family, though. Y'all probably, the whole family's probably like that.
Actually, no. It's mostly me. My mom was fairly competitive, but my other two sisters really didn't have that same... I don't know if it's a good thing always or a bad thing, but they didn't have that same competitiveness as I did. But.
Okay, well, very good. Did you have any routines or superstitions that you implemented regularly?
I wouldn't call them superstitions, but any ball player I think that you talk to, they have a routine that they get into. They pretty much do the same thing before most games when they can, even as far as how they're warming up and how they not only mentally prepare but physically prepare for a game. Everybody made fun of me actually when I was at UCLA playing because I had a tee that I carried everywhere with me when we went, and I would always warm up on my tee and hit balls into the fence. And I even had an episode at ASU where they stole my tee when I was at ASU intentionally so that they could try to mess with me, you know. But yeah, definitely, that was something that was important to me. And it was funny because when I first went to play for Ralph Raymond at on the Briquettes, even before batting practice and stuff, I'd take my tee out and start hitting. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just warming up, you know. I'll be fine."
You know, when I used to go to the baseball games all the time, I had season tickets, and I'd get there like a half an hour before they even came up to warm out. Mm-hmm. And King Griffey, you know, was a great player. He was over there in tee work for half an hour, before every game. Yeah. So I'd bring my kids on my team and say, okay, if this guy can do tee work, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. It's an important part of the game. And at the time that I was playing it, I was one of the only players that consistently just had it everywhere I went. Now, I mean, every team, everywhere, it's there.
It's not a big,
exactly.
It's not odd anymore.
No, but it was odd then.
Okay, this is one I get a lot of good answers to. What is your favorite softball memory? Which you have a lot, but you got to pick a favorite.
Oh, just one?
Well, no, you can say as many.
I have three all involved in the same thing. Okay. So, stepping onto the Olympic field for the first time when they announced us against Puerto Rico, that was like one of the best moments. I mean, I was crying and I kept, wiping the tears, telling myself, saying, okay, you got a game, you got to get out of this emotion. But it was the realization, you make the Olympic team, that's great and everything, but it's not really real until you are in the Olympic arena and you step on that Olympic field that it's like, wow, this is really it. And having waited so long for it to happen and to have it finally be there, and it was in the United States and all my family was there, that was one of my most precious moments. Obviously hitting the home run against China in the semifinal rounds to get us into the gold medal game, I'll never forget that either. That was absolutely incredible. And the last one is having that Olympic medal put around your neck.
That's good.
When you have that Olympic medal on, you see that flag rising and your banner going up, and then them playing your national anthem. There's nothing like that.
And that'll be incredible. A feeling most of us people will never.
Oh, you can, and people ask you all the time. Well, what is it like? What is it like? And it's like there aren't really words to describe how deep a feeling that is, and you can't know. You can tell them it's a great experience, and oh gosh, there's nothing better. And I wish everybody could experience that because it's phenomenal to be playing a sport, doing something that you absolutely love, and then being able to represent not only yourself and your family, your schools that you've gone to, your coaches that have helped you out, but the entire country. And that's an incredible feeling.
That is a great feeling. Okay, you've kind of answered this one already.
Okay.
But it's on my list here.
Okay.
And how much value do you place on mental training?
Oh, there's nothing more important in the game. Obviously, being a power hitter, being a good hitter, I tell people that all the time. You can have all the skill in the world, but if mentally you don't have it, you're going to have a tough time being successful. And I'm sure, as we've seen this week at the College World Series as well, a lot's happened on the pitching mound, and a lot of mental play has come into effect out there. And I mean, the game doesn't exist without it. It's learning how to overcome and make it be a positive thing for you, and that mental training is the utmost importance.
Number 9, what is the greatest obstacle you had to overcome in your playing career?
My goodness, the greatest obstacle. Actually, probably the
learning visualization.
No, actually, after college, I went and played for the Breakettes. And then it was after that we found out we were going to be in the Olympics. And I'd say one of the toughest things was having already completed my education, getting my master's degree, going working as a physical therapist, and now finding that we were going to be able to be training for the Olympics and hopefully make the Olympic team, was trying to find the time and the ways to be able to train myself in order to be successful, because I was competing against a number of college players who all are training, have weight rooms, have agility training.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're out there playing every day, getting batting practice, trying to find a pitcher to throw me batting practice, trying to find somebody at the level that I needed to be able to do that was not an easy task to do. I actually ended up finding a men's team, the LAPD officers that were playing, that were kind enough to let me play with them, and then I became pretty good friends with the pitcher. He'd come out and throw me batting practice all the time. But that ability to be able to be willing to go on my lunch break and run down to the local park, get my tee out, get my ball of bags out, throw into the backstop, you know, fielding balls off the backstop because I didn't have anybody right then to be able to hit me, be able to run back and go, you know, somehow rinse off and clean myself up enough to finish work, and then, you know, go back to work and then come and train afterwards. And that for me was probably the most challenging part throughout my career, that allowed me to play at the Olympic level, because without that ability to drive myself and to try and find a way to make it happen, I wouldn't have been able to train the way I needed to train in order to compete with the young ladies that I was competing against.
That's a good answer. I would have never known that. That's a really good answer. And that is really would have been at the time a hard thing.
My background was all having to do with kinesiology, and I actually did have a second major in psychology, which...
Bob said you were real smart.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was nice of him to say that. But I think with the background that I had, let me know physically and how the body works and everything, that I needed to do more than what I had been doing in order to be at that level. And I started trying to think outside the box and looking further. And I actually found a gentleman in Florida named Vern Gambetta. He was training the Chicago White Sox, and he had started off with plyometrics and doing a bunch of different programs with them that had never been done in baseball before. And because of where I was working in physical therapy, I was learning a lot about plyometrics, and there was a lot of training going on down by La Jolla by some professors, and I started looking at what they were doing and saying, hey, this all makes sense to me of how I can make myself stronger and faster at the age that I was. And I made phone calls and didn't know people, but wasn't afraid to go and ask and find out how can I work with you, what can I do to make myself and take myself to that next level.
Cool. Here's the last one, your final question. What is life now after softball?
Awesome.
That's a great answer. Great answer.
It's great. Yeah, I still do some motivational speaking. I have a granddaughter who has just verbally committed to go to Michigan, so I work out with her all the time. I have 7 grandkids in total, and they all play sports, so I'm at all of their stuff.
That'll keep you busy. I had 2, and I was busy. 2 kids.
That by itself definitely keeps me busy. Trying to make everybody happy and try to get to everything, it's not an easy task. And then my husband and I, we have some properties, and I manage them, and there's never a dull moment. We manage to be doing something all the time.
Gosh, that's great. Hey, I want to thank you for taking the time with me and for my audience. This was great. Quite a nice conversation. Thank you.
Great. My pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking with you as well.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to softballjunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout. And wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now that last short clip, that was my daughter Amanda telling you about my website, softballjunk.com. Make sure you save that code for $30 off your next softball bat. You can use that code at checkout, and you can use the code over and over and over and over. So share it with your friends. It's a great deal and a great way to save $30 on softball bat. Now, if you like this show and you like what I'm doing, I ask you at least check out my website, softballjunk.com, the next time you're looking for softball equipment. If I offer a competitive price, please buy from me and show some support for all the content I bring you month after month after month. Please tell your friends about the Fastpitch TV show and make sure and take a look at the website, like I said earlier, fastpitch.tv. Until next time, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all of our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.